Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you all are preparing well for your exam. Now I'm trying to be regular. Okay, so we are now covering the minor and obscure writers from the PYQs, previous year question paper that writers are repeated and which type of work questions. It's like a too difficult sometimes. Why? Because writers are not familiar for many of the members, candidates. Um, because somehow it skipped from our mind, it slipped from our mind. We only focus on the major one. So I want you to prepare well by focusing on these writers too. Here everything is mentioned in the PDF. You can get along well. Okay. So let's start the class. Two parts is already done. You can watch. I will put the link in the description. And before starting the class, subscribe the channel and share. So here is the first question on your screen. The question you have: arrange the following Renaissance early modern prose works in chronology. And the works you have: the Anatomy of Melancholy, Euphues, Hydro, it's Hydriotaphia, and the Art of English Poesy. You have to arrange them, the Renaissance work, early modern prose work, as per the chronological order which work appears first, published first. Okay, so you have to arrange these. Also, before moving on, let me remind you that Telegram Premium batch is already launched and many students have already started their preparation. Everything is clear. MCQs daily, PYQs daily. So I want you to join and practice willingly, not forcefully. Okay. So let's see the correct answer of this question. Correct answer option A, that is BBAC. How? The first work that was published, Euphues, Anatomy of Wit. It is by John Lilly, 1578, from Elizabethan Renaissance. This is the didactic romance which is famous for its elaborate, highly ornamented style known as euphemism. Okay, this is the remember the Art of English Poesy. It is by George Puttenham, 1589, which is an essential Elizabethan critical treatise that provides a systematic study of English poetic form, structure, and figure of speech. So, this is also important. The Anatomy of Melancholy, which is by Robert Burton, 1621. This is a massive encyclopedic medical and philosophical study of depression written under the pseudonym. And what is the pseudonym here? Democritus Jr. Okay, you can remember this is highlighted. Now, Hydrotaphia, we have on Burial, which is by Sir Thomas Browne, 1658. This is a meditative and scientific discourse triggered by the discovery of ancient Roman burial urns in Norfolk, reflecting on death and immorality. So these are the highlights of all the important. So first is Euphues, remember 1578, The Art of English Poesy, George Puttenham, 1589, The Anatomy of Melancholy, 1621, and Hydrotaphia is 58. So 78, 89, 21, and 58 are the correct year of these works. So you can easily remember and arrange them in chronology. Let's see the next question. Next question you have assertion and reason. Eliza Haywood is considered central to the tradition of amatory fiction in early 18th century England. Remember, she is associated with the amatory fiction term concept. Reason is saying her novel Love in Excess 1719 emphasizes female desire and emotional autonomy. You have to relate both the options, okay? Then in that case, you can select the option A. If not relatable, then B. And both are if different. One is true and the another one is false. Then C and D. Assertion and reason. It sometimes become tricky because both seems to be true. Correct answer. It's option A. Both A and R are true, and which is the correct explanation of A. So assertion was that Eliza Haywood is indeed a central figure in the Ametry fiction. Remember, this is the important term. Tradition of the early 18th century, along with Ephra Ben and Delirivier Manley. She formed the fair team triumvirate of Baker. Remember the phrase, her prolific output and focus on romantic passion earned her the contemporary title, The Great Arbitress of Passion. So there are many things that you can remember. The Great Arbitress of Passion. Why this title she got? Sorry, because of her romantic passion, focus on romantic passion. Fair primitive of wit, which is also a phrase you can remember, which is associated with Eliza Haywood. Then she is the writer from 18th century and the central figure in the Ametry fiction. Okay, these are the highlights. Reason was true. Her debut novel, Love in Excess. So you can get, you have now know, you have knew that Love in Excess 1719 is her debut novel. Was a massive bestseller that challenged traditional gender roles by centering on female desire and the emotional inferiority of its women characters. So these are the correct answer. The reason Haywood is considered central to the Ametry tradition is precisely because she pioneered the narrative focus on these themes of emotional autonomy and sexual agency for women. Okay. Now let's see the another important works by Eliza Haywood you can remember for the matching questions. Okay. So it's a Phantomina or Love in a Maze. 1724, which is a novella. Novella, you know, na, it is meant for reading only and not to performed, about a woman who uses various disguises to maintain an affair with the same man. The history of Miss Betsy Thoughtless, 1751. It is a later, more domestic novel that reflects her shift towards the novel of manners. The Female Spectator you have 1744 to 46, one of the first periodicals written by a woman specifically for a female audience. So which periodical is written specifically for female? So it is the Female Spectator. The year is 1744, just before 4 years. You can remember the work Pamela by Samuel Richardson, which is an epistolary novel. 1740 is the year. Okay. So this is the first periodicals written by a woman and for women. Written by a woman for women. You can easily remember. The woman is written is Eliza Haywood. Okay. I hope all the pointers is clear. Now let's move on to the next. Next question you have. James Thomson is often seen as a transitional poet between Augustinism and Romanticism. Assertion and reason again. Reason is saying the season 1730 employs blank verse and detailed nature description, which could be the correct answer. Assertion and reason. James Thomson, you have to aware about this writer. So both options, that is option A, both A and R are true, and R reason explains the assertion part correctly. So assertion is true. James Thompson 1700 to 48 is a quintessential transitional or pre-romantic poet, you can say. The romantic is started from the 1798, which is the from the work, foundational work, lyrical ballad, which is the collaboration of William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge. Total 23 works published, 4 by Coleridge and 19 by William Wordsworth. The first work was, you can remember, by S.T. Coleridge, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and the last one is by Wordsworth, which is Tinton Abbey. Okay, this is the specific point. With 1 point, if you are getting, everything quickly come to your mind. So, pre-romantic poet, while he lived during the Augustan age dominated by Alexander Pope and the heroic couplet, his focus shifted away from urban satire towards the natural world. Reason is saying, reason his masterpiece, the season 1713. That means this work, the season by James Thompson, is very important. This is, if they are saying this is the masterpiece, you can imagine how important this work can be for his career. Broke from the Augustan tradition by using blank verse popularized by you can remember Christopher Marlowe and the later one John Milton, William Shakespeare. They all have used in their respective works. So blank verse instead of a rhyme couplets. It contains meticulous, scientifically informed descriptions of nature that were previously uncommon in English poetry. Okay. Reason was explaining the correct assertion that the specific stylist and thematic choices mentioned in the reason, namely the rejection of the neoclassical couplet in favor of blank verse and the elevated status of nature as a subject, are precisely what define Thompson as a bridge to the romantic moment. Okay, so these are the correct. Now let's see another work by James Thompson, The Castle of Indolence, 1748, an allegorical poem written in Spenserian stanza. Now quickly comment the Spenserian stanza line. Another move toward older non-Augustan forms. Rule Britannia 1740. Again 1740, you can remember the work. In the previous class also I have told you few memory tips and tricks that by one, if you're able to find out one specific word in the year that year is familiar to you, and you are getting that the same year many works has been published, so quickly you can remind once, you can memorize once. So 1740, just I told you, Pamela, which is by Samuel Richardson, epistolary novel, published too. So Rule Britannia by James Thompson, the same year. A famous patriotic song originally part of the Mask Alfred. This way will be easier to remember because not each year you can get along with. Liberty 1735, a long historical poem tracing the progress of freedom through various civilizations. So, which is a historical poem by James Thomson? What is the name? What is the publication year? So, this is the Liberty. Okay. Rule Britannia, famous patriotic song if you have to find out. So, it's Rule Britannia. Allegorical poem by James Thomson if you are going to get in the exam question, which is written in the Spenserian stanza. So it is the Castle of Indolence. Okay, you can create your own mnemonic to memorize the work. Now, another question: paid members do get along this class and clear your doubts because this PDF you have already got through the Telegram Premium group. So you must not skip the classes. Assertion is here. May Sinclair is significant in modernist studies despite being marginal to the canon. And reason is here. She was the first critic to use the term stream of consciousness in English literary criticism. May Sinclair. So, stream of consciousness, which is later popularized by Virginia Woolf, William James, and many other writers. But here it is mentioned that first critic to use the term. So, it is actually correct, right? Let's see the correct answer. Both are the correct. Is a significant modernist studies despite being marginal to the canon, and she was the one who coined this term stream of consciousness. So, Miss Sinclair was a highly successful Edwardian novelist who transitioned into modernism. Okay, while she is often less discussed than figures like Virginia Woolf or James Joyce, making her relatively marginal to the traditional canon, she is considered significant in modernist studies for her early experimentation with psychological depth and her support of other avant-garde writers. She has been associated with the experimentation with psychological depth. That means if you're going to study her work, you will find out that this work you will find in the experimentation, but there is a blend of psychology too. Belongs to the Edwardian age. Okay, remember, and she was the one. She transitioned into modernism. The reason is here. In 1918, review of Dorothy Richardson's novel Pointed Roofs, Sinclair became the first critic to apply the psychological term stream of consciousness. Now, where she has applied this, so in 1918 review of Dorothy Richardson's novel Pointed Roof, Sinclair here became the first critic to apply the psychological term stream of consciousness to English literary criticism. She used it to describe the way Richardson's narrative plunged directly into the character's internal flow of perceptions and thoughts. So, stream of consciousness, when you keep thinking about something, keep give your perceptions without stopping. This is what a stream of consciousness relates, and where she has used in 1918 in the work of Dorothy Richardson's novel. Okay. Reason her historical significance in modernist study is directly tied to her role as a critical pioneer. You can get the PDF and study. Now, other notable works by her. Other notable works you can remember: The Life and Death of Harriet Frayne, 1922, which is a concise, masterful use of the stream of consciousness technique to depict a repressed life. Okay, Mary Oliver, you have A Life, 1919. Now 1919 again, the year is here. So 1919, yesterday you have mentioned, I have mentioned the work, and the same year Hamlet and His Problems by T.S. Eliot. You can remember. एंड इन्फ्लुएंशियल साइकोलॉजिकल. सो यहाँ पर क्या प्रॉब्लम होती है? 1990 ईयर में ही यू कैन गेट दैट टीएस एलियट इज अ वेरी बिग थिंग इन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. सो उनका ऑब्जेक्टिव कोरिलेटिव टर्म हैमलेट एंड हिज प्रॉब्लम्स ऐसे वी रिमेंबर. But this work, since Mary Olivier, we do not get along this work. Why? Because we have skipped और हमने मैरी सिंक्लेयर के वर्क पे उतना concentrate ध्यान फोकस नहीं दिया है. So that's why this type of work in the same year, there are many of the work published in the same year. We skipped, we avoid, we ignore. This should not be happened if you are really want to crack your NET or JRF, or if you are preparing for your research or any other English literature exam, because they can ask anything. The previous exam you have experienced which type of questions they now are giving, having. So, The Three Sisters, 1914, a novel inspired by the lives of the Bronte sisters, exploring the limitations placed on women in rural settings. So, who were the writers associated or known as Bronte sisters? Just let me know the name of these Bronte sisters in the comment section with their work, specific work. Next question we have: a treatise of miraculous plane is best understood in relation to. See the options. Correct answer we have, it's option B, lowland opposition to religious spectacle. That is option B. So a treatise of miraculous plains is an anonymous Middle English prose tract that serves as a theological attack on the miracle plays. So that is why you can get that miracles playing is written here. Dramas depicting biblical stories or the lives of the saints. Miracle, mystery, M3 or M4. In the previous classes, I have told you the trick how you can remember. In the Middle English, these type of drama were popular. So anonymously, if this work is written, that means the writer is unfamiliar. It is a key document of the Wycliffe or Lowland movement, which advocated for a return to spiritual simplicity and viewed elaborated church rituals and theatrical reenactments as idolatry and lying signs. Other options: the rise of Elizabethan theatre occurred nearly 200 years later, while the Elizabethan era saw the Puritan opposition to theatre. So, which theatre closed by Puritans? Quickly comment, and in which year this theatre was reopened. Mention the proper year. The development of morality plays, while morality plays like Every Man is a very popular example of morality plays, were part of the medieval dramatic tradition. Humanist pedagogy, this is associated with the Renaissance thinker. You have Erasmus and Thomas More. Now, other works you can remember here: Wycliffeism, the Wycliffe Bible, 1382, the first complete translation of the Bible into Middle English. The 12 conclusions of the Lowlands 1395, which is a petition pinned to the doors of Westminster Hall outlining the movement's grievances against the Catholic Church. Then we have the Lantern of Light 1409, an anonymous Lowlight tract defining the nature of the true church versus the antichrist church. Okay. Next question we have the grave 1743 by Robert Blair is most closely associated with. So yesterday's class I have cleared this. It's option B, Graveyard School. Robert Blair is one of the member of Graveyard School. So Robert Blair is primarily remembered for his long blank verse poem, The Grave. The Grave is the very important work by Robert Blair, and this is a long blank verse poem. That means इस वर्क को blank verse में लिखा गया है. And 1743, remember the year. This work is cornerstone of the Graveyard School. Similarly, there are schools, moments, lake poets like we have, Bloomsbury group we have. उनमें कौन कौन से मेंबर आते हैं और उस स्पेसिफिक ग्रुप को किसने कॉइन किया है एंड रीजन क्या है उस ग्रुप का, इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस भी पूछे जाते हैं. सो यू कैन प्रिपेयर. So 18th century poets whose work was characterized by gloomy meditations on morality, skulls and coffins often set in cemeteries. तो graveyard, grave school मतलब इसका ये होता है, ठीक है. आपको ये भी बताया हुआ है. Graveyard poets or grave poets that are associated with, that means the person, the writer, author are not going to write anything which is going to highlight your happiness, your joyness, your cheerful character, your cheerful mood, but your gloomy nature, your disappointment, disappearance, your sadness, this type of thing can be the theme, is the theme of a graveyard. So you can remember the theme. The poem explores the horrific aspects of the death and the physical decay of body, yet concludes with religious hope of the resurrection. Now, other major graveyard works, Edward Young, Night Thought 1742, very important this work is. Thomas Gray's Elegy written in Country Churchyard. These are the most important graveyard works you can remember with the writer. Thomas Parnell's The Night Piece on Death 1721 and 1743. You just got Robert Blair's The Grave. Okay. Next question we have Cane by Jean Toomer is structurally innovative because it. Correct answer, because it blends poetry, prose, and drama. So, Cane is the very popular work by Jean Toomer, published in 1923. You can remember. It is widely celebrated for its genre-defying three-parted structure that breaks away from the traditional linear novel. Here, the part of the game that it has been highlighted. Part 1, you are going to find set in the rural South Georgia. They ask the place location also, focusing on 6 women and their struggles through a series of short stories interspersed with lyric poetry. Part 2 shifts to the urban North Washington, D.C. and Chicago, exploring the psychological complexities of African American life in the city through prose narratives. Okay. Part 3 you will find it consists of long narrative title Cabnis, Cabnis or Cabnis, which utilizes the dramatic dialogue and stage directions, effectively functioning as a closet drama. तो ये केन जो है आपका 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है और in which part, in all the parts, there you can remember talks about 6 women and their struggles. Then you were set in Georgia, south location it is highlighting, set in rural. It shifts to the urban. अब यहाँ पे जो 6 women का struggle है, यहाँ पे they are shifting to the urban north, which is Washington DC, Chicago, where they explore the psychological complexities of African American life. Obviously जो rural से urban में आते हैं, they somehow face problem. देन पार्ट 3 आपका यहाँ पे हाईलाइट होता है कार्बनिस, जो कि आपका यूटिलाइज करता है। देयर यू आर गोइंग टू फाइंड आउट द ड्रामेटिक टाइप ऑफ डायलॉग लाइक इन अ मोर एक्टिव एक्ट यू आर गोइंग टू फाइंड हियर, जहां पर आपको स्टेज डायरेक्शंस बहुत इफेक्टिव वे में, इट्स लाइक मोर क्लोजेड ड्रामा जो आपके होते हैं लाइक नोवेला। Follow or the other options follows a realistic plot structure. This was incorrect. Employs a strict dramatic unities. ये भी आपका incorrect था. While part 3 uses dramatic elements, the book as a whole lacks the unity of action, time, and place. TPA, which is by Aristotle. This uses stream of consciousness exclusively. This is also wrong. There is nothing. Now let's see the next question. Sunlight on a broken column. 1961 is closely connected with. These are the themes here mentioned. Sunlight on a Broken Column is a work published in 1961. आपको ये फाइंड आउट करना है इनमें से कौन से थीम या बैकड्रॉप पे से ये कनेक्टेड है। तो इसका करेक्ट आंसर है ऑप्शन बी, पार्टीशन एंड मुस्लिम एरिस्टोक्रेटिक डिक्लाइन। दिस इज द वर्क बाय अतिया हुसैन। Novel is a classic of partition literature. It traces the life of Leila, remember the character, an orphan growing up in liberal but traditional Talukdari, that means land owning Muslim family in Lucknow. Okay. The narrative captures the disintegration of this unified aristocratic world that we call Tehzeeb, as the household is split by the political ideologies leading up to the 1947 partition. Other options you can remember: post-emergency India politics. This refers to the late 90s. Key works in this category include Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children 1981, रोहिंटन मिस्त्रीज ऑफ फाइन बैलेंस 1995। यहाँ पर बहुत अच्छा एक्सप्लेनेशन आपका इनकरेक्ट ऑप्शन का भी दिया हुआ है। आपको ये बिल्कुल इजी होगा लर्न करने में। पोस्ट इमरजेंसी वर्क ड्यूरिंग द पार्टीशन टाइम कौन कौन से वर्क आते हैं, बाय विच राइटर दे हैव रिटर्न। तो यहाँ पर सलमान रश्दी का वर्क है, रोहिंटन मिस्त्री का वर्क है, यू कैन इजिली रिमेंबर। नाउ गांधीयन विलेज नेशनलिज्म, दिस इज द हॉलमार्क ऑफ राजा राव कांतापुरा 1938 and मुल्कराज आनंद Untouchable 1935. Diasporic exile narrative. While Hussein herself moved to Britain, this specific novel is primarily a memory novel rooted in the Indian soil and the domestic space of the Zenana. Zanana, that means women's quarter. Other notable works you can remember by Atiya Hussain: Phoenix Flayed 1953, which is a collection of short stories, explores similar themes of social change and impact of the partition on the individual. Okay. The title itself is a reference to T.S. Eliot's poem The Hollow Man. यहाँ पर आपको बहुत अच्छा एक पॉइंटर मिल गया है. You can easily remember reference from which writer's work has been taken. So it is T.S. Eliot's poem The Hollow Man, symbolizing the fragmented remains of one's grand civilization. Now here it is also mentioned 1953. So which work published here? The work that falls in the existentialism and absurd category. The theme that explores, and there are characters you are going to find. Vladimir, समझ आ गया होगा, Lucky, Pozo, Estragon, Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, in which Godot never comes. The Good Soldier, next question everyone. The Good Soldier 1915 is often examined for its four option is epistolary structure. Option D, epistolary structure. Structure. इस टाइप के वर्क मेजरली आपको मैचिंग क्वेश्चंस में देखने को मिलेगा, तो ऑब्वियसली यू विल हैव टू प्रिपेयर एंड रिमेंबर आई हैव टोल्ड यू क्या प्रिपेयर करना है। यहाँ पे आई थिंक आई हैव फॉरगॉट टू ऐड द एक्सप्लेनेशन। So Ford Madox Ford novel is a central. This work, The Good Soldier 1961, is by Ford Madox Ford, that central to the modernist narrative unreliability. And here you can find this work is very important, and already I have found this work in the previous year question. The Good Soldier, 1915, not 61, 1915, which is around the First World War. You can easily remember. 1914 was also there, the year was mentioned, so you can remember. Next question you have, which is chronologically you have to arrange Ormulum and Crane's Wish, The Owl and the Nightingale, the Book of Merseycamp. These are the works from the Middle English. You can arrange simply. Correct answer, it's option A, B, C, D. That means option A. Orbulum, remember, this is important. Orbulum is by Orm. Orm is the work and Ormulum is the writer here. This 12th century work of biblical this is the earliest on the list, written shortly after the Norman conquest. Remember 1066 when Norman conquest starts, when they defeated the Anglo-Saxon. To provide pronunciation guidance, Anglo-Saxon is remember 450 to 1066 AD, and then 1066 later Anglo-Norman conquest started, and then after we fall into the Middle Age, which is also known as Age of Chaucer. Ancrene is anonymous. Written in the early 13th century, this prose guide was intended for anchresses, that means recluses, and is noted for its sophisticated English. The Owl and the Nightingale, Nicholas of Guildford, 1250. This is the famous debate poem, is typically dated to the mid 13th century. And the Book of Marjorie Kemp, this is very important. As of this is the 15th century text, you can remember, recognized as the first autobiography in the English language. Okay, first autobiography. Next question you have, a treatise of Miracles Plange is ideologically, for the same work you have already solved a question. So tell me which were year mentioned and by which writer. Keep practicing and be active and immediately just let me know the answer by commenting. किस थीम से ये अलाइंड है? So it's option B, Lollard reformist ideology. A Wycliffe anti-theatrical prose text. This work is anonymous Middle English prose. Serve as a fierce theological attack on the performance of miracle plays. Okay, it is deeply rooted in Wycliffe, that is Lollard thought, which emphasized scriptural literalism and rejected the visible or theatrical excesses of the medieval church. अब इनका जो आइडियोलॉजी है, विक्लिफ आइडियोलॉजी क्या है? They were opposed in idolatry. The author argues that reenacting sacred biblical events for entertainment is a form of lying and hypocrisy, and this turns the signs of God into a joke or a spectacle. किसी के रिलीजन का, किसी के परसेप्शन का if you are going to make fun of, तो यहाँ पर this is what you have to face. The sign versus the deed. Wycliffe's believe that true devotion should be found in the heart and the word, the Bible, not in the dead signs of religious theater. यहाँ पर उनके terms है, they are aligning with the positive, and there are some terms that they are totally discarding. Anti-clericalism. The text critics, priests, and religious figures who encourage these plays to draw crowds, viewing it as a corruption of their spiritual duty. Other works by Wycliffe, you can remember by Lollard Moment, is Wycliffe Bible, the first complete English translation of Bible, the 12 conclusions of the Lollard 1395, which is a manifesto of reformist beliefs presented to parliaments. Okay, the Lantern of Light, which is a tract outlining the church, true church versus the antichrist, that means the papacy. Next question you have, layman's brute marks a shift towards vernacular historiography and reason it adapts base Roman deep root into Middle English alliterative verse. Which is the correct answer? This is the assertion and reason you have to find out. Correct answer, assertion layman's brute. Remember, 1190 to 1215 is a foundational text in Middle English historiography. It represents a significant shift of the history of Britain. Remember, Matter of Britain and King Arthur mentioned in this work, which was out of the elite Latin and Anglo-Norman French traditions into the vernacular English to the common people. The reason Lehman's primary source was the Anglo-Norman poet Wes Roman de Brute. However, Lehman did not just translate it, he transformed Wes Courtly French. These are the two, एक Lehman's Brute and Wes Brute. These are the two different work you must remember. French octosyllabic couplets into a rugged Middle English alliterative verse that echoed the Old English epic traditions like we have Beowulf. Let's see the next question. Now you have to arrange these works. I think we have done. There is one thing is different here, na? Hydro. I think we have done this question. We can skip this. Great. Next question. Thomas Nash, the unfortunate traveler, 1594, is important for. Read the comment. Sorry. Read the options and then comment your answer. Yeah. So Thomas Nash, the unfortunate traveler, Thomas Nash, remember one of the university wit along with the six other members. Unfortunate Traveler, published in 1594, it is widely considered the first picaresque novel in English, following the adventures of a picaro. Picaro is a rogue or a rascal. Jack Wilton, as he travels across Europe during the reign of Henry VIII. Now, during the performance of Henry VIII in 1594, यहाँ पे दो चीजें क्लियर हो जाएगी आपकी. Globe Theatre was burnt. During the performance of Henry VIII, in which year 1594, ये सारे PYQs हैं. जब आप लोग PYQs not 5 साल 2 साल का 3 साल का, but previously if you will explore ना, you will find out ये सारे questions आ चुके हैं. ये वर्क किस लिए फेमस है? दिस इज फेमस फॉर इट्स एपिसोडिक स्ट्रक्चर, ग्रिटी रियलिज्म एंड ग्रोटेस्क वायलेंस. Other works by Thomas Nash, which is important, Piers Penniless, 1592, is a satirical prose tract where the narrator petitions the devil for help during a time of poverty and plague. Creed's Tears over Jerusalem, 1593. This is a somber prose work reflecting on the social ills in London. Summer's Last Will and Testament, 1600. It is a satirical masque that personifies the seasons and comments on the plague. The Isle of Dogs, 1597, a lost satirical play which is co-written with Ben Jonson. Remember, that was so controversial and it led to the temporary closure of all London theatres. This work became the reason. You can remember this. Co-written with Ben Jonson. ये अनदर ऑप्शंस यहाँ पे एडेड हैं. आप जब आप पीडीएफ लेंगे तो आपको यहाँ पे हाईलाइट मिल जाएगा. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन अरेंज करना है. यू हैव टू अरेंज द फॉलोइंग वर्क्स. द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, लव इन एक्सेस, द मैन ऑफ फीलिंग, द ग्रेव. लव इन एक्सेस बाय एलिजा हेवुड, द मैन ऑफ फीलिंग हेनरी मैकेंजी, द ग्रेव बाय रॉबर्ट ब्लेयर, द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कॉन्ग्रीव विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव. आप वर्क फेमिलियर है. क्विकली कमेंट. करेक्ट आंसर ए बी डी सी. तो फर्स्ट आपका यहाँ पे कौन सा वर्क आएगा? द वे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड बाय विलियम कॉन्ग्रीव. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क. 1700. This is one of the last and most sophisticated restoration comedies, first performed at the turn of the century. Okay. Love in Excess, Eliza Haywood, 1719. Remember, massive bestseller in the amatory fiction genre, published nearly 2 decades after Congreve's plays. Remember the year. The Grave by Robert Blair, 1743, foundational poem of the Graveyard School. The Man of Feeling by Henry Mackenzie, 1771, seminal sentimental novel published in the late 18th century, marking the cult of sensibility, the Man of Feeling. ये आपके 15 क्वेश्चंस हमने पूरा कर लिया. नाउ William Congreve also wrote many works by these writers. Comedies Love for Love 1695 and The Old Bachelor 1693 and the tragedy The Morning Bride 1697. Eliza Haywood के work just we have discussed in the same class, known for the novella Phantomina 1724 and her later domestic novel The History of Miss Betsy Thoughtless 1751. ये ऐसे है, ये आपका नोवेला है फैंटोमिना और ये डोमेस्टिक नॉवल. Eliza Haywood is associated with amatory fiction. Robert Blair, primarily known for The Grave, the very popular work, famously illustrated by William Blake. Which work by Blake. Robert Blair is so it's William Blake. Henry Mackenzie, The Man of the World 1773 and Julia D. Robbing 1777. Another वर्क है आपका यहाँ पे अरेंज करने के लिए टाइमिंग देखना पड़ेगा. Remaining questions we will do in the next class everyone. Thank you so much for joining. आपको प्रीमियम बैच पे ज्वाइन होना है तो आप सिंपली कमेंट करिए. I will share you the registration form link. You will have to register yourself and then I will share you the group link. Okay. Do prepare well. Do take care of yourself and with positive hope. Thank you so much for joining. Take care of yourself and let's meet in the next class. Bye bye.